All right, let's get into it. We're doing a deep dive today into 2 Samuel, chapter 2 specifically.
That's right. King Saul is dead, and that changes everything. It leaves this huge, well, this power vacuum in Israel.
Exactly. So the big question hanging over everything is, what happens now? Who steps up? And what does that actually look like on the ground?
Yeah, we're really going to unpack those first critical moves, the decisions people make, the conflicts that, well, they flare up almost immediately. It's the start of a really messy transition.
Or maybe not even a transition initially, more like a split.
Precisely. A kingdom divided right from the get-go, really.
And the first person we see making a really decisive move is, maybe unsurprisingly, David. He's been waiting in the wings, so to speak.
He has, but what's interesting is his very first action recorded in the chapter. He doesn't just, ride in waving a banner.
Oh, he doesn't. What does he do?
He asks God first. He inquires of the Lord, should I go up to one of the towns of Judah?
That feels significant. He's seeking divine approval before making this huge political and military step.
It really sets a tone for how David operates, or at least how he wants his actions perceived. He wants that divine backing.
Okay, so he gets the go ahead, go up. But even then, he asks for more detail.
Right, he follows up, where should I go? And the Lord's answer is specific to Hebron.
Hebron. There. What's the significance of Hebron at this point?
Well, Hebron is deep in Judah, David's own tribal territory. It's a major town, historically important for King Abraham. So going there is strategically smart. He's on home turf.
His power base.
Exactly. And it's symbolically strong, too. It connects him to Israel's past, right there in the heartland of his own tribe.
And the text mentions he doesn't go alone. He brings his wives, Ahinoam and Abigail.
And critically, all his men. His loyal followers, the ones who were with him out in the wilderness hiding from Saul, they come with their families.
So it's not just David staking a claim. It's like he's moving his entire operation, setting up a new center of gravity.
That's a good way to put it. He's establishing a court, a community, a capital, essentially, right there in Hebron and the nearby towns. It's a real settlement.
Which leads us to the next big step. The local leaders, the men of Judah. What happens when David arrives?
They come to Hebron and they anoint him. They make him king.
Okay, so king at last.
Sure.
But there's a really important qualifier there.
Yes. Oh, absolutely crucial. The text is very specific. They anoint him king over the house of Judah.
Not over all Israel, just Judah.
Just Judah. So his kingship starts, but it's limited geographically and tribally. It immediately sets up this tension with the rest of Israel.
Because, yeah, the other tribes are leaderless, or at least they haven't acclaimed David. So you've got David, king in the south, in Judah. What about the north? But before we get to that reaction, David does something interesting. He hears about Jabesh Gilead.
Ah, yes. The men of Jabesh Gilead. They'd done something quite remarkable for Saul.
They had. What was it?
After Saul and his sons were killed by the Philistines and their bodies displayed, the men of Jabesh Gilead undertook this dangerous mission to retrieve the bodies and give them a proper burial. It was a huge act of loyalty and courage.
Loyalty to Saul, David's predecessor, and let's face it, his rival for years. So how does David, the newly anointed king of Judah, react to this act of loyalty to the old king?
He sends messengers to them. And he doesn't condemn them. He blesses them. He says, basically, the Lord blesses you for showing this kindness to Saul, your master.
Wow. That's smart politics, isn't it?
Incredibly shrewd. He's honoring loyalty itself, even when directed at the previous regime. He's not just saying, Saul's out, I'm in. He's reaching out, acknowledging their faithfulness.
And he promises them favor, too.
Yeah.
But then he pivots, right? He tells them the news.
He does. He says, now be strong and brave, acknowledges Saul is dead, and then drops the big news. And the house of Judah has anointed me king over them.
So it's praise, then information, then almost an invitation. He's putting himself forward as the new reality.
Exactly. He's consolidating in Judah, but also testing the waters, sending signals to loyalists of the old kingdom. It's quite masterful, really.
But while David's making these moves in Hebron, that power vacuum in the rest of Israel isn't going to stay empty for long.
No way. And the person who steps in is a major figure from Saul's regime, Abner, son of Ner.
Saul's army commander. A powerful guy.
Hugely influential. And what he does is he takes one of Saul's surviving sons, Ishbosheth.
Ishbosheth. Not exactly a name that inspires confidence. It means Man of Shame or Man of Baal, depending on how you read it, likely altered later.
Right. Possibly not his birth name.
Mhm.
But Abner takes him notice. Abner takes him, it doesn't seem like Ishbosheth is driving this, and brings him across the Jordan River to Mahanaim,
Mahanaim. Okay, so geographically distinct from Hebron, setting up a rival base.
a rival capital, effectively. And now Abner makes Ishbosheth king.
King over what, though?
King over Gilead, Ashuri, Jezreel, Ephraim, Benjamin. Essentially, Abner makes him king over all Israel, explicitly setting him up against David's kingship in Judah.
So, bang. Just like that, the kingdom is officially split. David in Hebron over Judah, Ishbosheth in Mahanaim over the rest, thanks to Abner.
Yeah, the division is formalized very quickly, and the text even gives us some time frames.
Right. It mentions Ishbosheth was 40 when he started this reign, and he reigned for 2 years.
But then it adds that David reigned in Hebron over the house of Judah for 7 years and 6 months.
7.5 years. So that 2-year reign of Ishbosheth happens during David's longer reign over Judah. This isn't just a quick blip, it's a prolonged period of division.
A long, tense standoff. 2 kings, 2 capitals, 2 claims to legitimacy over the same people. Conflict feels, well, baked in.
Absolutely inevitable.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take long to boil over.
Not long at all. Abner and Ishbosheth's men leave Mahanaim. They head towards Gibeon.
And who should they meet there? But Joab, son of Zeruiah, David's commander, and David's men.
The 2 armies, face to face at the pool of Gibeon. You get this amazing image of them just sitting there opposing sides of the pool, a standoff.
Tense. And Abner breaks the tension with a very strange proposal.
It really is. He says to Joab, let's have some young men get up and fight hand to hand in front of us, like a contest.
The sort of representative combat, but not just champions, groups of them. What does Joab say?
Joab just says, okay, let them. He agrees.
So they count out 12 men from Benjamin, Ishbosheth's side, Saul's tribe.
And 12 from David's servants.
And then what happens is just brutal.
Utterly brutal and bizarre. The text says each man grabs his opponent by the head and stabs him in the side, and they all fall down together.
All 24 men dead simultaneously.
It's shocking. This contest settles nothing and kills everyone involved. The place even gets a name from it. Helkath Hazarim, Field of Swords, or maybe Field of Sides?
Grim. And of course, this doesn't prevent a larger battle. It seems to trigger it.
Exactly. Right after this, the text says, the battle that day was very fierce. It explodes into a full-on fight.
So the strange contest just lit the fuse? How does the main battle go?
David's side wins. It's clear. Abner and the men of Israel were defeated by David's men. Joab's forces get the upper hand.
Okay, so Abner's forces are retreating, but the story then zooms in on a specific pursuit.
Yes, it focuses on Asahel. He's one of Joab's brothers, the sons of Zeruiah, and the text makes a point of saying he was incredibly fast, fleet-footed as a wild gazelle.
And the super-fast warrior, Asahel, he zeroes in on Abner himself during the retreat.
He does. He goes straight for the enemy commander, ignores everyone else, just relentless pursuit.
Abner notices him, calls out, "Is that you, Asahel?" Asahel confirms. What does Abner do then?
Abner tries to warn him off. He says, essentially, turn aside. Go fight some regular soldier you can beat, take his gear, don't mess with me.
He's giving him an out, maybe trying to avoid killing the brother of David's top general.
Seems likely. He explicitly says later, stop chasing me. Why should I strike you down? How could I look your brother Joab in the face? He knows this will cause a blood feud.
But Asahel, he's young, fast, maybe overconfident. He refuses to stop.
He keeps coming. So Abner, feeling cornered perhaps, or just needing to stop the pursuit?
He reacts.
He does. Not with the point of his spear, interestingly, but the butt end. He thrusts it backward into Asahel's stomach with such force.
That it goes right through him, comes out his back.
Instant death. Asahel falls right there. And the text adds this detail. Everyone who came to that spot just stopped. His body becomes this grim landmark on the battlefield.
A tragic end for Asahel. And Abner was right. This is definitely going to cause problems with Joab.
Oh, absolutely. Now it's personal. Joab and his other brother, Abishai, take up the pursuit of Abner with, you can imagine, a vengeance.
They chase him until sunset, reaching a place called the Hill of Ammah.
Right. And Abner's remaining men, mostly Benjamites loyal to Saul's house, they rally around him on this hilltop. They make a stand.
And it's from this position, as night falls, that Abner calls out to Joab.
Yeah, this is another really pivotal moment. Abner shouts down, "Must the sword devour forever?"
Wow. After initiating the deadly contest earlier.
Ironic, isn't it? But he continues, "Don't you realize this will only end in bitterness? How long before you tell your men to stop chasing their brothers?
They're brothers. He appeals to that shared identity, trying to stop the bloodshed.
He does. He's the defeated commander, but he's the one suing for peace, pointing out the terrible cost of this internal conflict.
How does Joab respond? Does he buy it?
He responds, but with an oath. As surely as God lives, if you hadn't spoken up, we would have kept chasing you all night.
So he basically admits, yeah, we were coming for you, and your words are the only reason we're stopping.
Pretty much. It shows how intense the pursuit was, probably fueled by Asahel's death. But Abner's plea works. Joab blows the trumpet.
The signal to halt.
The fighting stops. The pursuit ends. For now.
Okay, so an uneasy truce descends. What happens next? Both sides retreat.
Yes, under the cover of darkness, Abner and his men march all night, cross the Jordan, and make it back to Mahanaim.
And Joab.
Joab gathers his men. They do a head count. They've lost 19 men, plus Asahel.
20 casualties for the victors. What about Abner's side?
Significantly worse. The text says David's men killed 360 Benjamites who were with Abner. A heavy loss.
Clearly shows who won the battle, despite Asahel's death.
Definitely. And the chapter closes with some final, somber actions.
They deal with Asahel's body.
Yes, they carry Asahel back and bury him in his father's tomb in Bethlehem, paying respects.
And then Joab and his men finish their journey.
Marching all night, they arrive back in Hebron, David's capital, by morning. Victorious, but marked by loss.
So yeah, this chapter just throws us right into the messy reality after Saul. 2 kings, 2 kingdoms, immediate, brutal conflict.
It really sets the stage. You see David's careful, divinely guided approach in Judah, contrasted with Abner's more forceful, king-making actions for Ishbosheth.
And the violence isn't just strategic, it's deeply personal, almost immediately with Asahel. That bizarre contest, the battle, the pursuit, it's raw.
It really is. And that question from Abner just hangs there at the end, doesn't it? Must the sword devour forever? This will end in bitterness.
It feels like a commentary on the whole cycle that's just beginning, this fighting between brothers, as he calls them.
Yeah, it highlights the tragedy of civil war, the cost that goes way beyond just winning or losing territory. It makes you think about how these conflicts start and spiral, and how personal grievances like Joab now has against Abner just pour fuel on the fire.
What is that kind of bitterness, acknowledged right here at the start, signal about the path ahead for David and for Israel? It's a sobering thought to leave us with.
Absolutely. The seeds of future conflict are sown deep in this chapter.